All right, so I'm going to record a video. I'm in my office, so it may be a little bit noisy, but I want to find the equation of the line tangent to this function here, e to the x over x squared, at the point where x equals 1. And so right away, I know that my answer is going to be equation of a line, right? And so I'm going to just write that here. I'm going to use point slope. And I'm just going to write my answer with some blanks. So I know the answer is going to be y minus blank equals blank times x minus something. And I know my x coordinate is 1. So I can fill that in right away. I know I'm going to get x minus 1 when I fill that in, right? And I know my slope is going to go here. And I know my y coordinate for my point is going to go here. And let's just find that y coordinate right away. So if this is my equation of my graph, and I know the x coordinate is 1, I can just plug in x equals 1 to get the y coordinate. So for example, if I do this, I would get that if I plug in 1, this is going to be my y coordinate for x equals 1. I'm going to plug it in, I'll get e to the 1 over 1. And that's, well, I could use a calculator. It's just the number e. It's just a number like 2.71. But I'm just going to keep it as e. And so that was our y coordinate. So it makes sense that we're just going to put that there. And now if, we're in terms of, making progress on this problem, we're almost done. The only thing missing is to find that slope. And the way that we find the slope, the only thing we need to do, the first step is going to be to find f prime of x. So we find the derivative. This is what I like to call the formula for slope. And then once we have that formula for slope, which will be dependent on x, it'll be one slope for every letter x. And then we're going to plug in, use x equals 1 to find the slope when we are at the point 1 comma e. Right? And so, in other words, this is just plug in x equals 1. So let's do it. And so I'll copy down my formula for my function. Copy. Okay, so here's my formula for my function, e to the x over x squared. And when I do the derivative, I need to use the quotient rule. So I'm going to do my denominator squared, and then I'm going to fill in my quotient rule steps. So I'm going to do the derivative of the top times the bottom minus the top times the derivative of the bottom. And you may want to pause the video right here and work this out and see what you get. And now I'm going to e to the x times x squared minus e to the x times 2x. And now I'm going to go over there. I get x to the 4th. And this is it. So I don't need to simplify anymore. And this is my formula for f of x. And now if I plug in x equals 1, remember that was my plan. I was going to, after I found the derivative, I was going to now use x equals 1 to find the slope at this point. And if I do that, I could do it on my calculator, might be easiest, but I'm going to get e to the 1 times 1 minus e to the 1 times 2 all over 1 to the 4th. I'm plugging in x equals 1. And when I simplify that down, I get e minus 2e, that's negative e. And so my slope that I was in search of is negative e, which is about negative 2.71. So that's what I'm going to plug in. So now I found my slope. And so I'll go back up to my answer, and I will put that in. We said the slope was negative e, and that's all we need. Now you may look at this answer and you may say, well, wait a minute, that makes me feel a little weird because there aren't numbers in. And I'll remind you that e is just a number like anything else. But if you would prefer to write it with numbers, we could write our final answer using some decimal approximations. So let's put that in. Let's see, we put in 2.7 and negative 2.7. And now let's check this and see if it matches what we get on Desmos. So let me open our Desmos. I have to find it. Where is Desmos? Here's Desmos. And I'm just going to graph our original function, which was x squared in the denominator. And what was in the numerator was e to the x. So e to the x power divided by x squared. So there's our function. We wanted the tangent line at the point where x equaled 1. And we said that the equation was y minus 2.71 equals negative 2.71 times x minus 1. And let's check and see how we did. So this graph is, we're supposed to be finding our tangent line right at x equals 1. And I think we did a pretty good job. You can see that our graph is tangent right at that point. This is a great way to kind of check our answer and see what we got. But again, if you really didn't like that the numbers involved e, it's, e is just a number. It may not be as a nice whole number, but if I put that in, I will get an even better approximation. And in this case, Desmos even gives me that little point of intersection, which of course is the point on our graph. It's 1 comma e, which is what we found earlier. So comment with any questions. I'm happy to help, and let me know what other videos you'd like to see. Thanks.